We are smarter when we listen to black women. Not because all black women are right, but because all black women deserve to be heard.
The main theme is trusting black women, but how do we get ourselves as men fixed to be able to love them the way they need to be loved?
How do y'all think about safety outside of just I'm the protector? You know what I'm saying? How do we build that?
Patriarchy is not good. The system of domination for women is not good. But a lot of us buy into that.
So I got a question I would ask you.
These are all things that don't allow women to come and open up to us because we are ready to play football every goddamn time.
That's how I'm gonna make my wife feel safe. She wants to know that in any conversation, I ain't gonna just be like, all right, I gotta go outside and smoke real quick. Like, she wants to feel safe.
You can't be a natural protector. You are the one that's causing harm.
A lot of men don't got shit to contribute. If you can't even commit marriage to a motherfucking woman, what makes you think that she wants to commit to having a baby?
The reward for being disciplined is the outcome of what makes men so great and what makes men be able to understand.
I think we on to something here. I think we on to something.
Thank you. Good evening. Peace, everybody. How are you feeling this evening? It really is an honor to be able to partner with Morehouse and to be a part of such an interesting, viral, fun, complicated thing that we have now created called the Black Men Trust Black Women Roundtable. At Sister Song, our work is centered in reproductive justice. This is a movement that was started by Black women in 1994 that asserts that every individual has the human right to be able to maintain their own personal bodily autonomy, to have children in the ways that they want, to be able to not have children and to end pregnancies without shame, but with dignity, and to be able to parent the children that we have in healthy and safe environments. This movement for me is holistically about our ability to make our own decisions about our bodies, our families, and our futures. And this work demands that we do all that we can to dismantle these systems of oppression like patriarchy and white delusion and misogynoir and all the things that are literally killing us every single day. And so I'm really excited about the work of Sister Song. We do this work all across the country. We are a Southern-based national organization. We're also a membership organization, and our work spans from trainings to convenings to doing powerful cultural work like you're about to see here tonight, and so much more. I am very excited to do this work with an incredible team. Can Team Sister Song in the room just wave your hands? This work is very, very important, and it does not happen with me. It is an incredible team that knows way more than me, that does so much of this work, and I'm grateful for them. And this particular project, I'm excited to bring out my co-conspirator, my brother, my friend, that I am really honored that we had an opportunity to partner with in doing this roundtable. Kendrick Sampson, y'all, he is an actor, he is an activist, he is a Black man that's about building power, but also tearing down these systems. Yes, bring them on, bring them out, bring them out. And he is also the leader and the visionary and the individual doing so much work with the powerful organization Build Power. So please tell the people a little bit more, Mr. Kendrick Sampson, about the work of Build Power before we introduce the film.
Oh, yeah. How y'all feeling? What up? I'm here from the H, you know what I'm saying? But I always have a good time in Atlanta.
Yes.
Yeah, and my little brother went here, and he ain't gonna forgive me if I don't say that. We do a lot of work at Build Power around power building. I'm not trying to be funny, but for real. We focus on power. It's based in Black radical liberation, Black power movement, continuing that legacy of us understanding our power. And one of our key issue focus areas is sexual health and liberation. And so the work of Sister Song is key to that, and partnering with them is just a lifelong goal that's been really dope. And me and Monica be having a good time. Even with the serious topics and things, we be cutting up, and we really enjoy culture and how people use that to build power and to survive and to empower each other. Our other areas, we focus on building worker power, fighting against state violence and mental health, advocating for mental health care. And conversations like this, although I don't always advocate for just conversation, right? It always goes beyond the conversation, and having personal relationships with a lot of these folks and understanding how they can argue things out and come to an understanding is actually how we get closer to our power. Right. You know, especially when Black men get in a room together, we start arguing and things. What we don't realize is on the other side of that argument is often the transformation that we need. So I think that we have to encourage these and make sure that they're not connected. They're not just a moment. It's not just a viral trend. That it's connected to the movement, right? And so I'm super excited about the work that we're going to continue doing and having this. And more than anything, what this did, especially with people who have different intellectual backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, these Black men are from very, very, very different places and experiences. Yeah. It let me know and gave me some insight on how I can get my own people. Now, my homies a little different, my family a little different, but I got a good taste of what it's like to navigate those difficult conversations with people that ain't got shit. I mean, especially women who ain't shit to do with social justice, okay?
It's real.
But they support me and they love our community. Yeah. And if they understood that this type of conversation and work of empowering our Black women is central to and essential for our power, that we would, and that we're cutting off our own power by fighting against it and not participating in that empowerment. If we really, especially in this critical moment, if we realize that and start to do that work, we will be on this other side of defeating our enemy.
That's right.
And having our true power in the world that we deserve. Like, for real.
So y'all, you all love working with this man. Truly a brother. So we are about to unleash you to this Atlanta screening of this. Just to let you all know, we released this about 13 days ago on our own at Sister Song, and it has definitely gone viral. Over 250,000 views on YouTube alone and continuing to grow. And so this conversation is reaching places that we could have never even imagined. And so you all tonight will be a part of this experience together, and then afterwards we'll have a conversation with some of the men that were a part of this, Kendrick being one of them, Clifton Powell, You're Got It, and Joseph Lowry tonight. So we're excited. We want you all to get excited with us. And without any further ado, we would like to turn you all over to our Black Men Trust Black Women official roundtable screening. Thank you all so much. So we're about to bring the gentlemen out to get in conversation with them. But before we bring them on the stage, I just want to take a moment for you all to just give me one word from the audience first. How did you feel? What's going on in your mind? If you could say that in one word, I just want to hear you all say that from the audience first. Just one word about how you're feeling right now. Y'all ready? Okay. Oh, I'm hearing interesting. What I hear over here? Hopeful. Encouraged. What? Validated. Heard. What about over here? Challenged. Okay, we like that. So, are y'all ready to talk to some of the men who are a part of this? What you say, baby? Healing. Yes. Okay, the beginning. I love all of this. Well, y'all ready for these gentlemen to come out? I want you to put your hands together tonight as they make their way to the stage for our moderator, Kendrick Sampson, Clifton Powell, Joseph Lowry, Euro Got It, and we're also being joined by one of Morehouse's own, Irvin Spann. Y'all give them a round of applause as they make their way to the stage. As they make their way to the stage. As they open the door and make their way to the stage. As they make their way to the stage. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Thank you, baby. Thank you. I want to get up, but I'm so short. I'm like a little teapot. Thank you. Yes. Okay. Let me get myself together here. How's the edge? Everybody good up here? Okay. So y'all, they just watched you on the big screen, not on their computer, not on their phone. They watched you on the big screen tonight, right? And the first question I have for all of you, and I also want to include Evan in this, we're so excited that you're on this panel and that your perspectives will be added in because we know that you're a fourth-year psych major. right? And you've been doing a lot of work as a fellow around a lot of this. Y'all give it up for this Morehouse powerhouse up here. So my first question for everybody is about getting to you all's and into your minds, right? As you watch this back for the first time, and for you, Evan, seeing this and experiencing this in this particular way, what's going through your mind after seeing this again or revisiting it again?
Oh,
You can start. Go ahead.
I wasn't volunteering, but I saw him give that mic and he said, "You first."
Cause I thought she said heaven. My bad.
I mean, watching the game, literally every time I look for I'm always looking for tools and scenarios that help me understand how to communicate to my family. And family, I'm talking about chosen and unchosen family, right? So it really does excite me. I see little details, little nuances every time where I'm like, oh, that's when he clicked, or oh, that's when this memory popped up, or this is how he relates or associates, or that was a really good way to phrase that.
Yeah.
Or like, man, that was simple. Why I ain't think of that before? But I can't explain things like that. So I'll be writing notes things of different scenarios and phrases. So that's my main, and it's just exciting to think about more than anything when I'm watching it, what the next conversation is going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Clifton, what about you? What came up for you after seeing it?
I think when you look back, for me, I wish I'd have kind of broken things down even more. Saying I didn't know how to love at 65 is, my girl made me understand that's too broad. It sounds like you don't love your kids, you don't love your friends. Some of my friends I don't love. No, I'm joking. Some of my kids be getting on my nerve. But it was just too broad. And then because I'm from another era, I realized I had to not just break things down, but give statistics. I did the art of dialogue the other day, and my son called me and said, "Dad, don't say names and give statistics and teach." And I'm like, okay, because it's set up to kind of like you would fall into a trap if you get too honest too soon. But with the new generation, and I'm not get too long-winded, you got to break things down. Like you can't just say, "I learned how to love at 65," because that sounds like you. But you got to say, "Hey, because my father wasn't there, I went down the rabbit hole. The majority of kids between 12 and 25 with no father goes down the rabbit hole." So all of that made me realize if we ever do another one, to kind of make sure I know exactly how to break things down, especially for this, not even our age, the next generation coming behind us.
Now, that's really great. And I appreciate you naming in that, like, oh, this was about me being able to tell more of my story, right? And I think that your story is a powerful one. And I think it really does help people understand your perspective and how you see things in the world and how you actually move in the world. Euro, how did that show up for you? How's it feel?
It was amazing. I had a chance to watch it by myself. I had a chance to watch it with my significant other. And I think one of the things I kind of also noticed in the comments along, throughout social media, it seemed like we were being more so talking about ourselves than trusting Black women. But the root of that was, until we know ourselves as Black men, how can we, because we don't really know how to trust ourselves. So it was an in-depth conversation about trying to learn how to trust Black women, but subconsciously we end up or unconsciously, I would say, we kept it on ourselves because we had to learn, even from some of the things that Joseph was saying, it gave us a different mindset, or like a different way of thinking, like, oh, if this is what women think, then how do we better ourselves first to be able to trust somebody? Because we can't trust ourselves if we can't trust women if we can't trust ourselves, Black women in particular. So
that's real.
Yeah.
At Sister Song, with all of our trainings, we start all of them out with this phrase that says we all have a story to tell. And our stories are really at the heart of everything that we do. So that's like right in alignment with like what it means to really break through, right? To really get to the heart of what we need to be talking about when we're demanding, right? That Black women are trusted.
Yes.
We got to get to the stories first.
Yes.
So Joseph, Let me tell you something, brother. I felt like at one point, every time I watched this, just like Kendrick was saying, I take something new away from it. And as I was listening to you this time, I felt like the ancestor of a black woman, like just came upon your spirit, you know, and you were just like speaking on behalf of in some moments. And I think that that resonated with a lot of people. But as you look back on it, what's coming up for you in this moment?
How's it going, y'all? So, I don't know how to word things the best way. I'll try and say it this way. I'm someone that, if you know me from social media, I just post portions of my personality. You know, I'm good looking. I might post a little thirst trap here and there. My social media has never been something where like I don't have I'm not in politics. I'm not someone who you know, like how, you know, conscious, like, you know, he's really an activist. That's not really what my content is centered around. And I never wanted to ever portray, there's a lot of people who go on social media and they pander to black women. I never wanted to be someone who used my platform to do that. I talked with Mecca a lot, and I'd be like, you know, I wish that I had a, you know, some way to show my appreciation, and Sister Song gave me this platform. One thing that I want to mention is people said a lot in the comments, particularly men, like, oh, you want to be a woman, you're acting like a woman, things like that, so that nature. One other thing I mentioned is my love for black women, there is no sex tied to it. My love for y'all is the women who raised me in my life. And key to me as a person is advocacy. So with this and this platform, I feel like, you know, I wasn't trying to mimic or like, you know, trying to portray myself to be any type of way, just what y'all told me. You know, like y'all are tired. That's all I communicated. Okay. Like, and then for a lot of people trying to discredit because like I'm a gay man, all of this. I mean, yeah, I'm gay. Like, but realistically, I don't have media training. And I'm just going to say it like this. If the majority of straight black men were doing what they needed to do, I wouldn't have to say shit at this panel.
I hear.
I wouldn't have to say anything.
Yeah. I hear that.
And
I hear that.
one more thing, I'll wrap it up. And I really am. One thing that's real prevalent in our community is respectability politics.
Yeah.
I will not apologize for what I said, because that would take away the advocacy I had for black women. But what I will apologize for is because of the age difference, there is a little bit of, I see why people say like it was disrespectful. I want to say though also too, I'm sorry, I'm kind of like, I didn't take a shot or anything before this. So it's like, it's coming out.
Stop lying, Joe. Listen, let me interject.
Wait, Clifton.
No, he tried to apologize, and I said, you know, when I looked
let me just finish.
Go ahead. Let's go at it, Joe. Come on, Joe. Come on, Big Joe.
The conversation that we had, a lot of people, everyone in this room has likely experienced this at home. Whether it be a relationship that you have with your significant other, you want to tell your parents that, you know, you have a baby on the way, you want to do like an education that they might approve of. That discourse that we had happens a lot, but either people choose to have it or they choose not to.
That's true.
Okay? So that's all I want to say. I do respect you. I will apologize for the way that it came across, but I will not take away what I said, because if I did, that takes away how y'all felt, heard, seen, and felt. I'm sorry for on, but
look at that. Come on, y'all.
So do I get to say something here?
I'll let you respond, but I want to make sure I get Evan in on this question. But I'll let you respond. And then Evan's gonna do it.
So Joe tried to apologize to me in the hallway, and I said, I'm not taking that apology because you didn't offend me. You know, I think somebody came to my page and said there needs to be a clinician at the table. And the reason they said that is because and then somebody, if you go listen to the comments, I mean, it's like,
it's wild out there.
You would think they saw another whole thing. I mean, so what happened is that one psychiatrist came to my page and they said, these are some hard conversations.
That's right.
And somebody is going to get emotional.
Absolutely.
You know, and the reason I got emotional is because I'm going through it right now. But to his defense, I said, I just learned how to love at 65. So when I got home, my girl was like, well, she don't take nobody's side, especially not mine. But she helps to enlighten me and said, that's too broad.
Yeah.
You maybe just learn, because if you say that and it just goes out into the universe, it's like, damn, where you been at? You don't love your kids? I mean, really, it's really that literal. So I had to not say I appreciate that, because we talked afterwards.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna stop right here, but I just want y'all to understand this whole relationship, love, our parents, trying to find the right marriage, deal with the kids, and it's hard stuff.
It is.
And I don't know, in closing, if any of us are prepared to do it without a clinician.
I think the therapy part is absolutely important. I think that was ringing true, in y'all's discussion. But the intentionality with this roundtable wasn't about trying to fix people, right? Or trying to give them tools even. The point of this conversation was to build as safe of a place as possible for dialogue to happen and for us to be able to draw out from that, right? Those things that really help us think about how we can do this work better together. So I'm gonna talk to someone who's on the pathway to helping us understanding this from a clinical and mental health perspective as you are on your journey with psychology. And so how did this show up for you, Evan? And when you saw this as the young, beautiful man that you are, and what you're holding and the work that you're trying to do in the world, what kind of showed up for you after watching this?
Good evening, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good evening.
Good. I want to take 1 second first to uplift a Black woman in my life. So my girlfriend Aisha is right back there. Hold on. Can everybody say,
Aisha.
Everybody say, hey Aisha.
Hey, Aisha.
Yeah. All right.
Aisha. No,
cool.
again.
So
Okay, I'm sorry.
She's a Spelman student, so I want y'all to know that she's gonna graduate too. She's gonna head to graduate school. So yeah, this was a really important conversation for me to watch, for people in my generation to watch. It was an intergenerational conversation. So, I heard Mr. Powell talk about his mother being born in 1915, right? And having that proximity just 2 generations removed from enslavement, right? And that's, for me, I was born in 2004. So that's almost a 100-year difference right there, right? In the future,
we like you. Come on, let's do it.
Yeah, I don't mean that any type of way other than, just to show that
that's real.
The amount of time in between is, everything that's happened in between that 100 years, since she was born and since, we're talking right now, has led to that conversation and the ways that it played out. I think that everyone can find somebody in their life within that conversation.
Yeah.
They might see themselves or somebody that they know represented through opinions that were expressed, or even the way that they expressed them. So I think that the clinician or the psychiatrist saying that it was something very heavy and a hard conversation is true. And that's why it needs to happen, over and over again in different ways with different groups of people. And fortunately, I go to a school here at Morehouse where those conversations happen, I'd say, on a regular basis in different ways. So, in our freshman dorms, people might gather and talk about things like patriarchy, or gather and talk about, systemic racism and its impact on our mental health. We have a whole department of psychology students that may want to become clinical or counseling psychologists. I want to be a counseling psychologist. I was recently just accepted into a counseling psychology PhD program.
Congratulations.
So, my goal is to help us, in that way, help our mental health, help free our minds. So that's the lens through which I look at the conversation.
No, that's really, really helpful. And I think it's really great because, again, the makeup of this group of Black men was also very intentional. We wanted it to be intergenerational. We wanted it to be a group of Black men that had different perspectives, different life experiences, different orientation, sexuality, all of that. We wanted to make sure was a part of this. And so it's great that you were able to see that and feel that and see the impact of that even for you. I have a question for all of you again. And because we want to make sure we get to the audience and get their questions, because I know y'all got questions, right? Okay, let's try to keep our answers as concise as we can so that we can build as much time out for the audience to engage with us. So I'm going to give a 2-part question here. Was there a part of the experience that made you feel uncomfortable, and how did you deal with that? Or, is there something that one of the other men said afterwards that made you have a deeper thought that you wanted to go in on? So either choosing to talk about one of the moments that made you uncomfortable, right, and how you thought about that and how you dealt with it on the other side, and or was there something that was said by one of your other brothers that you thought about afterwards and has put you on a path to want to either think deeper or to just like continue to be connected to them in a different kind of way? Does that make sense? Okay, great. So, Clifton, I'm going to start with you.
You know, I think, you know, when I got agitated, it's because I'm living in a 7-year apology, and I've never apologized in a relationship, literally, like understanding what I really did. And so going back and watching it, I was trying to figure out why I got so triggered. And I think, you know, what you said earlier is that, you know, we were just really expressing ourselves. It wasn't a framework, and it's going to happen. It happens in relationships with friends, family. And I think some great stuff is coming out of being able to have a larger conversation about the love between Black men and Black women. Absolutely. And so that's what I took from it. And I think we could have more conversations and we might get triggered. But I think, you know, afterwards, in closing, I saw him in the hallway. I spoke to him. I apologized to him. He apologized to me, because it's not personal. I got triggered because, again, I'm just learning that and I'll say this and I'm gonna stop. I thought I was a great guy. I really thought I was a great guy, loving and gentle. And then I met a queen who kind of was all of that all the time. And she's like, you mean sometimes, and you this sometimes, and you say you're gonna be home at 12 and you don't come home to 5. It's a lot. Or 4, because I'm an entertainer. When I go out, I can go out to a function. And that's, people don't understand the entertainment lifestyle. And when you marry,
This is uncomfortable.
well,
I mean, you know what? Here we go.
No,
Here
no,
we
no,
go.
no. We can get into it, because let me just say this. Listen, let me just say this. I ain't never been gone no 3 days.
Thank God for
But
that.
I ain't never. But I think that's a bigger conversation when you start talking about the entertainment business and all of the temptations and all of that.
That makes sense.
And it's something that you have to learn.
Yeah.
And I think I took that from that to
That's right.
really understand all of us need healing to love a Black woman, and Black women loving Black men. And if that comes out of all of this, I will be overjoyed.
That's beautiful. I think that Luke definitely brought that healing aspect in, so I could feel that. Evan, when you saw this, was there something in particular that one of the men said that made you say, huh, or something that you wanted to just think about deeper? Anything like that show up for you in the conversation?
I think what just came to my mind was how everybody came from different starting points in their life. They had different familial situations, different relationships to their parents or role models.
Yeah.
I think that it just serves as an example of how where you start doesn't have to be where you finish.
That's right.
And where you continue. And so, you know, what I was taught from my parents, you know, is just that, right? So, you know, I just was reflecting on the ways that my parents raised me, and continue to love me and pour into me.
Yeah.
And just appreciate what they did and how much effort that they put into that, you know, and continue to. So, you know, that's what comes up for me. I think everybody should understand that, you know, they can take control of their circumstances. Like, we can be agentic and decide what and how, you know, our lives, you know, turn out, and what our relationship is to our emotions and our mental health. You know, to seek help, to, you know, convene and talk about these things, to do deep study, like you were talking about, to, you know, struggle through things, right? That's important. To allow yourself to feel the full range of emotions,
Right.
while we work through these things over time, and not, you know, have grace with yourself. That's something that I heard a lot. Give yourself grace. I was taught to be gracious, right? You know, so those are all the things that came to my mind.
Yeah.
So
That's beautiful. Thank you. So I'm gonna start with you, Joseph, and I'm gonna go to Euro, and I'm gonna take it to you, Kendrick. on those questions. Then we're going to open it up to the audience because I want to go ahead and get them pulled into this. So the question was about, like, was there something that it's like, dang, that really happened? I really did that. I really said that. Yikes. And or, right? Is there something that one of your other brothers said with that you was just like, yo, let me think about that some more?
I will admit my use of language. So late that looked at me when I said like, oh, people act like X, Y, and Z. He was like, well, you can't really be saying that. And then at first I was like, what do you mean? And then it clicked. Just as far as how words that you can just use loosely can have like a, deeper impact. So I would say, but as far as like the actual panel, I feel like I said what I had to say.
You did. You did.
I went to sleep good and I went to work the next day. Like I feel like better start from that. So I appreciate y'all.
Awesome. What about you, Euro?
There was a portion that I knew it would have been too long-winded, so I didn't elaborate.
Yeah.
I felt like I should have stopped when I mentioned I was going into about how you could still take from like white therapists, but I didn't necessarily mean just white there. I was basically trying to elaborate, and it's different walks of life. And sometimes if you've come from a survival mindset, you can learn how to survive, but are you learning how to live? And it's different walks of life. I wouldn't advise to go to white people, but I would just say is whether a person is homeless, whether a person is white, black, or anything, it's always information that you could take and apply to yourself and make yourself better. And that's what I was trying to get to. But I was like, by the time I started talking, I'm like, I'm getting long-winded, so I gotta let it go. That was the moment for me where I was like, as far as, I'm not gonna lie, like I learned something from all my brothers at the table, even Clifton, like him and my dad is from the same place, literally. Yes, and the same age, everything. So my dad, when I was here in Morehouse, I ended up getting, I fell victim to the streets. I am from Atlanta, but a lot of me falling victim to the streets because my dad's from the streets. And so it was kind of like I needed money now. And then I was taking care of my little brother. My dad ended up leaving around that time, and I felt like that was the time I really needed him to be present because I was just 18. I'm becoming a man now. I'm taking care of a 14-year-old by myself. And nobody's giving me no guidance. I don't know what this is. So before I get upset at my dad, it was refreshing to see somebody around my dad's age that actually hear, because I'm like, I can take so much. It was refreshing to hear Joseph's perspective because I almost feel like he embodied the mindset of a woman. No disrespect, but the fact that he was able to, get that across to us. Sometimes we don't hear what women are saying in the manner of what they're saying, and it might take another man to talk to another man to be able to say, this is what she's saying. And so for him to do that, it was a lot of times I was sitting here, I'm like, man, I can't wait to get on the phone and say, yo, I love you so much, and this, that, and the third. Luke James just blew me away. Jay Alphonse, same situation. Like I resonate so much with what he was talking about, and I forgot my other brother with the, what was his name? Gold sweater. I think it was Daniel. Was it Daniel? It was Daniel. It was Daniel. It was so many talking parts that I learned from everybody. Lakeith, even Lakeith, like Lakeith don't understand how he a Superman. Because he got the woman and the man side to know how to move, so I get it. I respect it. Everything about the panel I was able to take from somebody, and I didn't think that nobody had nothing that wasn't worth hearing.
That's
so
beautiful. Thank you for that, Euro.
Yes.
Now, dear brother on the end, I mean, you had the honor and privilege and also a job of moderating this here thing. And so you have to kind of like go in and out of this conversation, right? Like you had to like zone out to like think about how you can keep moving, but you also were very much putting yourself in it, right? Because you were in the conversation with your brothers. Anything in particular stick out for you, or did you have one of those moments where you were like, uh-oh?
I mean, the main thing that made me say uh-oh was when Evan said that grown people were born in 2004. I'm still dealing with that. I'm processing it.
Understandable.
But what was really special, in the conversation was having a personal connection with a lot of y'all, and in ways that really hit to my soul. Like
Yeah.
I've known Luke for a minute.
Yeah.
I've known and I've known George for a little bit, and consciously I've known J. Alphonse, like, and seeing folks, and I know Sir Powell's son very well, and the conversation that it was so it was such a great example of how important it is to have those conversations with all the different perspectives. Because even when you're talking about, like, you know, you weren't recommending, nobody thought that you was recommending going to white people, like white people are gonna save you. Nobody, you know.
Oh, you shut me down, or you said, hold on now. I'm glad you did, though. I'm glad.
You know why, though?
Yes, I do.
Because cameras. I said how people go interpret what you said.
And I appreciate that.
What's important about the conversation and having all the different perspectives.
Right.
Because it's not, when I tell you I am long-winded and they tell me to slow it down and cut it short all the time because I be going on long.
Yeah.
It's so easy to get caught on a tangent and go off on your point, and people don't see that in conversations and interviews and things. They take
I really appreciate that.
And be like, if I tell you the context that I've read of Clifton and Joseph's argument, well, you know what, it started back in 1994. Y'all don't know nothing about the context of the situation. And so I thought that was super important to have those different perspectives and to be able to pull, even in conversations that aren't recorded in any way, be able to pull you back to say, oh, yeah. But let's keep going in that direction you were saying. Remember that point you made? That shit was really good. And then the conversation goes beyond the circle because I happen to know how impressed Clifton's son was that he participated in the conversation.
Come on.
Like, even to sit there and have that conversation, even if he's like criticizing how it went, questioning what was the agenda, what were people's intentions?
Yeah.
You know, did they treat him wrong? Do I need to stand up for my dad? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, no matter what that was, he was like, don't get me wrong. I ain't talking, listen, all the respect, but he was like, this nigga sat down at the table and had this kind of conversation that most niggas are extremely scared, like to the point that they'll attack each other so that they ain't got to have the conversation.
That's very real.
So
that's
to
very
have
real.
that intergenerational one, I'm gonna tell you who wouldn't have that conversation, who fist would have flown up right against my head and my dad. But what I thought when I was sitting there watching them talk it out, I was like, I can actually have this conversation with my dad.
That's
Like,
real.
for
That's
real.
so real.
Especially hearing it from your son. Like, their perspective made me realize how valuable and how worth it it is to have these conversations, that we really are scared of an argument. We really scared of being embarrassed or our ego being bruised, and our transformation and our power, our freedom is right on the other side of those arguments.
Got to go through it.
Yeah.
You got to go. And you know what's interesting? And I want to get to the audience. I see you, sir. What was interesting about that moment, and so do we have folks ready, Sister Song team, with microphones for questions? Okay, beautiful. I want to take a moment about that because, you know, that was the part that the internet blew up, right? It was like, oh, the argument. And it was, you know, and people tried to like put so many different spins to it. But what people didn't see, and if you do watch the full thing, you will see the full spectrum. You will see the transformation that happens. But more importantly, the thing that I remember, because, you know, I was saying I had a little cameo there for a minute because I was like, hey, right? Because as a Black woman, you know, I am also conditioned to like hold the container, to make sure everything is okay. I know how to do that. I know conflict resolution, all these different things. But what people don't see, you see your mouth doing it, but they don't know what you're saying. Kendrick is looking at me saying, Monica, hold up. We got it. We gotta let it do what it gotta do. I got it. And I had to throw my hands up, right? And I had to relinquish, you know, what I thought I needed to do for what needed to happen and transpire, And that was a powerful thing for me to witness as a Black woman in the room, to see what masculinity has to do to get to the other side.
Yeah.
Right? Like that was something that I'm grateful that I had the opportunity to see. I want to get some audience questions, and then I'm going to bring back to you. I'm going to give you 10 seconds, Clifton.
10 seconds.
10.
Well, my son, he knows my son, and my son is brilliant. And what I heard you say is that we don't talk.
Yeah.
Statistically, 81% of people don't talk. And that's where it starts.
The talking.
And you butting out, so to speak,
Yeah.
brings us here.
That's right.
Because I got to be honest with you guys. When they said I was coming back, I was like, okay. Because I'm not going to tell you what I told my manager, but I was really upset when I left, and I had no intentions to ever be back.
I know.
Because I know what I'm talking about, but I didn't word it right. But I realized that 81% of people don't talk. So
yeah,
this is important.
It's so important, and we're so glad you back. We weren't gonna let you go nowhere.
Hey, they
though.
gave me some a Happy Meal and some bus tokens. I'm here.
I love it. I love it. All right, audience. All right. We got questions lined up. Now, I have some instructions for you. Okay, these are questions and or extremely short reactions or comments. This is not an opportunity. I know that we're on a university's campus, but this is not about a dissertation. Okay. All right. So, question and or short commentary so we can get as many people in as possible. So please introduce yourself and give us your first question.
My name is Jaya. I'm a nurse midwife here at Atlanta Birth Center. I'm also a teacher at Emory University.
Let's go.
And my question is, how do you love Black women? It never got answered fully.
Ooh. Okay, what do I want one. I love this. Okay.
I'm not short on words. That's why we're here. If you heard what I said, it's not just Black men. It started, again, if you watch the podcast, with a psychiatrist I heard say, African Americans are suffering from 450 years of post-slavery PTSD.
Right.
So we got to go back to the beginning, and we both got to listen and talk. That's how we learn to love each other. We gotta
listen to each other.
We gotta listen to each other.
That's Clifton's answer. One more person. Yero, how do we love Black women?
I love Black women by not, like Lou James say, I learned to take accountability for all my wrongs, and the fact that I'm willing to wake up every day and say, to give a Black woman the best of me, I have to figure out what all my wrongs are. And I might not be perfect, but I can be near perfect to show her that I'm what you deserve. Yeah. So that's if I can look in the mirror and be what I see for her, then yes, that's how I love
I'm hearing
that
accountability is one way that we love Black women. And I'm also hearing that we have to be committed to being in conversation and dialogue with one another and learning as much about each other as possible. Beautiful. Next question.
Hello, my name is Lavana Boba. I'm a professor at Kennesaw State University.
Hey now.
Yes. I teach in gender and women's studies. I went to Clark and I also went to Howard because I always got to brag about Howard.
Come on.
But I heard a lot of concepts of misogynoir. We talk about power, provider, and leader. When people say you're a leader, where are we leading Black women to, right?
Yeah.
So my question is how do you shape Black manhood outside of Western ideology?
Oh, how are we? Okay, Kendrick, you want to take that one? Go ahead.
Well, I think that's the answer to your question. I think, how do you love Black women? How do you raise Black men outside of Western ideology and white supremacist ideology, white delusion, and the capitalism? I mean, some of it is you have to understand. It's not just. I mean, yes, 1,000% it's accountability and being and having these conversations are essential tools, and we have to understand what women's power is, respect it, nourish it. And understand that is the key to all of our freedom and all of our power, especially the Black woman, because that's the originator of power. You know what I'm saying?
You about to say something, Joe?
He ate that.
I mean, he did. He got some of that in there.
Mm-hmm. I'm not going to word it the best way, but whenever men are progressive or willing to have conversations or treat Black women with respect, stop trying to effeminate them. Stop. Did you notice how many people said Clifton's up there with a whole bunch of sissies? It was only one person that was gay up there.
Yeah.
Okay? You got to stop associating respect and like treating black women correct with you're less of a man. That has to go away.
Yeah. And I think one of the other things to get to your question too that we were trying to do with this, and the reason why Sister Song was committed to doing this as a reproductive justice organization, is that in order for us to have the support from black men that we want and that we know that we need in this movement, it is about how do we reimagine, create, you know, this our new definitions of manhood. And I do think that that is about dismantling these systems. Like, they have to be active participants in dismantling these systems of oppression. It cannot just be black women bearing the brunt of saying that we're going to be on the front lines of everybody's issues and our own. It requires black men to also do the same. And so I think that them, you know, this first this step that they took, right, towards stepping to this conversation, being framed by a black woman-led sexual and reproductive justice conversation and rooting it in that is how we start to shift that dynamic too, right? I appreciate you so much for being here, sis. We got the next question rolling on in. How you doing?
I'm good. My name is Haley Carey. I'm showing up as a doula and also a co-host of the Talk Room to Me podcast.
Hey, come on, podcast in the building.
Come on. My question is, if you could speak directly to young black boys about reproductive justice, what would you want them to understand early?
Ooh.
Say that one more time.
If you could speak directly to young black boys about reproductive justice, what would you want them to understand early? Yeah, big question.
I mean, my short answer is that what reproductive justice is, and that it is centered around like how. So young black men. I'm talking to young black men attracted to women, right? And attracted to black women. On one end is understanding that their relationship with a woman's body is supposed to be centered in reproductive justice. But it's like, how do we and how do we frame that for a young kid? I don't want to be like, hey, reproductive justice, blah, 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 blah. A woman's ability to control her body, to say yes, no, you know what I'm saying, and be able to have the environment to nourish herself and whatever child or no child, you know what I'm saying? That is essential to what I really want to teach the young folks, especially mine, is that's essential to their power. It's essential to their power building. Centering that, that is the center of life. That is power building. So if you don't have that relationship and that understanding, that perspective of how to interact with a woman, whether that means don't, or you know, or whatever they need, I think that's important to power building and freedom.
Can I expand on your question for a second? Because I think this is a very, very important one. Because again, this was also about making sure that we are creating male leaders in this movement too. To help, maybe, I think, Euro, you were about to say something, and maybe this will help kind of bring it to the surface for you. In this question I'm hearing from this dear sister, it is about, like, we live in a world where black women are dying 4 to 5 times higher than white women in childbirth, right? We're living in a country where abortion bans are literally killing black women. We're living in a country where we have the stories of the Diddy's to all the other atrocities that we've seen around violence and sexual assault in this country. And when we look at all of those things and whose bodies are impacted the most on that, we are talking about black women's bodies. So back to your question, if you had a youngin in front of you, knowing that we understand the full context of what's happening to black women and black women's bodies in this country, what would be one of the first things that you would tell this little dude, right, that you would want him to have as a seed in him, right? So that as he grows, as he has to like manage and, you know, figure out this world on his own, he has that as his foundation and seed. Like, what is that simplified thing that you would want that young man to know?
Especially intergenerationally.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Honestly, I think it's as simple as, and I know this sounds crazy, seeing is believing. And you got to train a man up in the way that he should go. It ain't necessarily about just talking to him about reproductive injustice and justice. It's more so about teaching him how important the black woman is and showing him how important she is by the way you treat her. Because if you can instill in him that you need to fear God, you could also do the same thing with that woman to where it would naturally come to him to say, I know how important this is. I would never play with this like this because this is what I know from growing up. And so it takes breaking that. It takes breaking that. Sometimes for men, it's a little more simpler. We're not as complex as women. And I know women don't always understand why we so simple. We don't understand why they're complex, but we got to stop trying to think for each other and just learn each other. So as a man, if you know how to communicate with another young man, make it as simple as possible without him trying to explore deeper. Just show him.
Yeah. I think that's really, really important. I want to get to the next question. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Sis. And as the next question is coming up, my nephews, who I love, because I am the finance auntie captain, in case y'all didn't know that. And my nephews, one of the things that I always taught, that I'm such a stickler for with them, is helping them understand what consent means. Right? Like that for me has been the foundation for my nephews. We're going to have to get to all the other sexual stuff and all the things. But if you can understand that when a woman says no, absolutely, for sure, right? 100%. But I think that when I think about my nephew being 10 or 11, and I'm trying to have that conversation with him, if I can at least start him with that, and now I hear him say that back to me, Auntie Monty, this girl told me she didn't want me to hold her hand. I ain't hold her hand. There you go. There you go. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, just put that out there. Doing welcome.
Hi, thank you. My name is Darisha Kai. I'm a filmmaker. I'm based here in Atlanta. I just want to say thank you so much for having this conversation, for having the honesty, the bravery to be open and vulnerable and to be angry and to be all the things that y'all were. We hear about the manosphere and the conversations that men have, and there so much vitriol often comes out of that.
Yeah.
Directed towards Black women. So it's so refreshing and uplifting to have this conversation. I was really excited when I saw it and y'all delivered. So I wanted to thank you for that. And then I also just wanted to say that at the heart of this conversation about patriarchy and about dismantling it is a conversation that is kind of like the subtext. When we talk about the creator of life, of the planet, of all the stars, why are we not talking about women? If all life comes through the women, comes in every form of life, there is no form of life on this planet that does not come through the female. So I know we're in the Deep South and Christianity is really deeply entrenched here.
And it is.
But there is a conversation about God and what God is.
Ooh.
Right? So I just want.
Yes.
Why are we excluded, right?
Listen, and I think that Kendrick got to that a little bit whenever you were framing at the end, right?
Yeah, well, I ain't gonna be able to say it as good as you, but
Yeah.
But like for real, like that was my answer to that question. Is like, what do I want to tell kids? I remember. So I'm a little biased because we're always talking about power and story, and the power of story, and how story is central to culture and power building, and how that can also be stories that are lies. And the stories that we've heard have been lies all of our lives. We base our concept of power, what we have the ability to do, what our imagination is capable of conceiving, from those stories. And some of those, I've been working on like little kids projects, little animated things to let them understand where power comes from, and understanding that power is centered in the Black woman. I used to Xena warrior princess and all these things. I'll go back and tell all types of people what the Greek gods was, doing and how they got power, and start to think about it that way. That's what kids do, is they take that and their imagination goes wild. So to be able to plant that seed in them, and for them to be like, it's almost like looking for the missing treasure and think like, I need to go get my power. In order to get my power, I got to make sure that I'm standing with my homegirls. You know what I mean? Like that's what's up. I think that is super important. And what you said, I think is so important, like so important of separating, not saying that it is intentional that you're supposed to separate consent from sex.
Right.
Having kids that are 11, 12, 8 years old that have the concept of what consent is, that when somebody has to give you permission in order to do anything.
is something that a lot of us don't understand, because America is the foundation of America is take, because God told you you deserve it,
Yeah.
which is another lie, manifest destiny, right? Those types of things, that is what we're taught, how we're taught men are supposed to be. And it could be as evil, as violent, or whatever it has to be. But planting that type of seed and understanding those concepts at a very young age
That's
is
powerful.
what disrupts, when we're talking about raising people outside of Western ideology, Western culture.
It changes
That
the
is
game.
what disrupts it. Yeah,
It changes the game. All right, we have, thank you so much, sis. Thank you for being here tonight. We're very grateful. We have a few more questions in the queue here. And because we are coming to our end, I still want your questions on this microphone. So I'm going to ask you all to just give your questions one after another. I'm going to do my facilitator duty of being able to bring to the judge to get as many of the answers as we can. But let's get those questions in the room. Is that cool? Okay, great. Please, who are you? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm Tina Brown. Thank you all for this evening, this platform. Monica, this is absolutely wonderful. So shout out to Sister Song, shout out to Build Power. Something really struck me. This is more of a reaction / question. At one point when discussing monogamy, the comment was made about this was not our culture or not our original culture. And that was interesting because I realized we're talking about African history and where we come from and our original people. But Africa is extremely diverse, right? So we know there were nations that practiced polygamy, there was monogamy, there was matriarchies, patriarchies. And so we have to be careful not to cherry pick parts of history to justify behaviors. And with that said, I think the question then begs, what is our culture? What is the culture that we're going to stand on and create in this moment in terms of how Black men relate to Black women?
Oh. What is the culture that we're standing on? Thank you so much. I'm going to hold that question. We're going to get the next question in. Thank you, sis. How you doing tonight?
Hi, I'm Cherie Danielle. I'm a cultural worker, community organizer. Community Movement Builders, my organization. Shout out to you guys. I guess my thing that I guess I'm trying to struggle around is the concept of listen to Black women. As a radical Black feminist myself, I don't, necessarily listen to all Black women. I think especially when it talks about, dismantling patriarchy, I think girl boss feminism, even some of the feminism in academia are very limiting. So when we talk about listen to Black women, I'm just thinking about the next steps of this as far as like, are we going to have a panel with different walks of life of Black women and classes as well? Not and also will there eventually be a conversation with both men and women to represent these other perspectives? Because I just think, I love being a Black woman, but like I said, because we're in an empire and it's affected all of us.
100%.
And I think especially now today with people like Ashera Seven, or there's a lot of
Yeah.
ideas of what feminism really is supposed to be. So I think that that's very important when it comes to listening to Black women.
Absolutely. And you took the next steps out my mouth, sis, because that is the pathway that we are on. So I'll talk a little bit more about that in the end. But thank you so much for your comment tonight. How you doing tonight, sis? Welcome.
Hi, my name is Colette Haywood. I'm a community advocate, and a lot of people are saying that they're thankful for this conversation. And quite frankly, this conversation has really made me angry.
That's real.
I have to be honest with you, Mr. Powell. Like, you and I are the same age. I'm almost 60 years old, so we're the same age, same generation.
10 years older than
We're close. I mean, for the people in the room, we're close.
Totally heard, yeah.
And I struggle with accountability without empathy, and I think that's what you were asking for. And you, and your triggers, I think you felt that way because you didn't feel the empathy for your pain. And I hear what you're saying about post-traumatic slave syndrome. I hear that, and we're all victims of it.
Unfortunately.
The struggle that a lot of women have and a lot of people online have with what they witnessed online is there's a fine line between excuses and real growth. Because when and this is just my perspective, and I've been married for 30 years, and I've been through it, and I grew up with men like you. So, like you're the breadwinner, and that pain, like okay, that pain we all feel.
Yeah.
So it's problematic when you say a queen taught me this because it was a queen that you hurt. And when you don't
I think you're
sit
going on
in
too
that-
far, man.
Oh, hold on one second, Clifton. Hold on. No, hold on. I'm gonna hold on one second, y'all. I'm gonna understand. I'm
Don't
the
take it out of
facilitator.
context, though.
I'm not. Hold on one second, Clifton. I got
I'll
it.
sit here and let you take it out of context.
No, everybody's giving. They're all going to give their perspective, and we're going to give ours at
Absolutely.
a second. So let's get through these and make sure that she
Absolutely.
has other space to talk, and then we could respond after all four of them go. We could jump in.
Go ahead, sis.
And he's right.
Yeah.
I don't know your personal. I don't-
Sure.
We don't have the time to know that.
Sure.
But for the conversation that we're hearing, this is what I'm talking about, because it's that shutdown of my feelings. It's that lack of acknowledgement of that feeling. That's what you were feeling.
Yeah.
That's what you responded to.
My grandmama, she's just like you.
Hold on one
I had to say it.
We gotta wait for
That's how my
everybody.
grandmama was, and that's what I was saying it for. Shit, hey. She's speaking. My grandma from Arkansas. She went through the same thing as you did. You said what you had to say.
We appreciate you so much, sis. Thank you so much for your contribution to the conversation tonight. And thank you, Kendrick, for your support. And gentlemen, let's take a collective breath, good people. Y'all heard me?
I don't know why y'all so worried about me. I'm just not gonna never sit here and let anyone take anything.
Worried. So we just want to
Hey,
get through
hey,
this
hey.
because there's 30 seconds.
No, we're gonna go overtime.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. All right, here we go.
Hi, thank you all for doing this. I'm Leticia. I'm an educator.
Yes.
And my questions are, why does protecting Black women and standing up for Black women mean that men are acting like women?
Okay, we got you.
As if it was a bad thing.
As if it was, we're gonna hold that question. I got you. Culture, why is it a bad thing? Got you, yes.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Dr. Danielle Dickens. I'm a psychology professor at Spelman.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All of y'all are so great. All these people here. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And I'm an author of a book on psychology of Black womanhood. And so as a psychologist, I thank you for this panel. And in discussions and thinking about how to respect and protect Black women, you all mentioned objectification. So I want to hear more about how can Black men challenge objectification of Black women's bodies.
Okay, got that. We got the last two here, and then I'm going to parse this out to you all because we're going to have to end in about 4 minutes here. Okay, what you got? How you doing? Welcome.
Hello, my name is Jay of Anime Trap Cafe. We do alkaline smoothies and teas. First, I'm going to start by saying I have a 5-year-old daughter, so all of this hits home really close. But I want to lead with this before I get to my question. It'll be really quick. And please don't, I want to get to my car, Spelman Nights, so just bear with me. Bear with me. I'm about to drop a lot of knowledge.
Hey, we got you. We got you.
We got you, but I need you to drop that knowledge, my dear sir,
really
in
fast.
10
Okay.
seconds.
So Spelman was founded by 2 white people. It was funded by 2 white people, and it was named after a white family. I will never send my daughter to be a Spelmanite and to be here at Spelman. Hold on.
That is his perspective. We hear you.
Listen to me. Hold on. Because also the first Black president of Spelman didn't come around until 1987 when it was founded in 1881. That's over 100 years of colonization and indoctrination of Black women. So my question is, how do Black men trust Black women when they trust in a system that oppresses Black people? That's it.
Heard. We got your question. Thank you so much for your contribution, sir. We have our last question tonight. Spelmanites, hold on. Hold your mule. Hold your mule. All right? Hold your mule.
Don't get too emotional. Calm down. Yeah, when it hits your nerve, it gets you, don't it?
You know what?
Hit that nerve, that Spelman nerve.
You want
Please, in the beautiful way.
Yes.
Go ahead and start talking.
What you
Go
got?
ahead, right in there.
Okay, I'm gonna start talking.
Jump in.
Okay, jumped. So my name is Shani. Is it on?
I love this so much.
So my name is Shanique, aka the Starter Life Queen for All Your Lock Services. I specialize in reconstructive services.
All right.
I used to be an educator and I quit in 2019. It wasn't fun anymore, so I opened up my own salon. But my question, which is not in line with anybody else's question, is just a curiosity question. And like he said, please do not attack me. But my question is, I know it's unpopular. I don't know if I'm saying their name right, but what did is it Laith Ashley?
Laith Ashley.
Laith Ashley, thank you, has to offer to this conversation when biologically they were born a woman, and I understand they transitioned.
Oh, good people.
Listen, it's a great, that is a point that we should address.
Absolutely,
I
100%.
understand because people gonna ask that question. We got our feelings about it, but to hear your
Right,
question.
and it's individual, but I just, you know, I didn't realize, you know, very handsome, by the way. But the thing is that I just didn't see the connection to the men at the panel when most of your life was spent as a woman, possibly within conflict as well.
Oh, how good people.
Okay. Okay. So
Heard.
We're gonna
Right.
get into it.
We're gonna get into it.
Hold on, y'all.
But thank you so much for your questions, and thank you for being here tonight. All right. What?
no smoke.
Hold on 1 second, good people. How much time I got? Thank you. How much time I got? Okay, we barely have any time. So we heard. All right. All right. We heard a lot in those questions, right? We heard about how are we going to shift the culture to be what we need it to be to hold this conversation, and how are we going to bring more Black men into that. We talked about the next steps, and people want to know about the next steps beyond the roundtable. We talked about accountability without empathy, and what does that look like, and what does that feel like in the experiences of those who were in this roundtable. And we talked about like what does protecting Black women and holding Black women accountable mean when they are acting like women. That was something that we saw come up in the comments, and folks were asking about that. And then these last two questions that were a bit controversial to some in the room. We hear you, we feel you, around like what does it mean for us to think about how colonization, right, impacts us all, because it has. But there's some questions around like how does that look in higher education, and what do we need to do around trusting Black women whenever colonization is at play. And lastly, there was a very specific question around the makeup of the actual group, right? And Laith's participation. I will say that Laith is not here tonight, so I am not going to answer anything on behalf of Laith because Laith is not here, but I can speak to why it was important for us as organizations to ensure that we were creating a roundtable that was reflective of all forms of masculinity. Right? So that I will answer. And we also had our other sister really give us a very personal feel about like, you know, this didn't make her feel fuzzy and warm. It's making her more angry. It's bringing up for her, you know, something that she feels like she has dealt with throughout her life. And it got to this question around empathy, right? So those are all the things that were kind of in the line with us this evening. We're not going to be able to answer all of those directly, good people, but these are questions that my team in particular that we are taking note of, because as we think about how we want to continue to build out these conversations, we want to build those types of questions and that type of information into how we continue to do that. Is there a particular question, good folks, because we literally have about 2 minutes for this, y'all. Is there a question in particular that you want to dig in on that really resonated with you from the line?
I'll do my best to keep these short, the first and last.
Okay.
Number one, Laith's experience is validated by the other men in the room being able to relate to Laith's experience, to his experience.
That's right.
It's not about whether, number one, Laith belongs there. So
100%.
Don't get me wrong when I say it's not about if he belongs there. It's not about if he belongs there. He does.
Period.
It's about the perspectives at the table that are informing each other from people who call themselves men and run through the world as men and have to face conflict and empathy in every relationship as
men.
Person,
yeah.
Right? And what comes with that, what violence comes with that, what gaps in your perspective, what blind spots come from that.
And Lath has some of those and has a better perspective because of how incredibly complex Lath's identity is. We don't ever want to diminish Lath, but we also want to make sure that we tell everybody that Lath belongs there. And I've known Lath for a minute, and Lath has taught me too many things about my fucking masculinity. You know what I'm saying? So I love Lath. And
We
then as
do.
far as that first question, I believe it was me who went into monogamy, talking about monogamy, and I don't believe I didn't say it was our culture. I don't believe I said that. It was that monogamy wasn't our culture. Well, either way.
But what do you mean?
What I did get to in it, whether he said it or not, whether we get to it or not, that it wasn't there. That we didn't at one point practice monogamy. But a lot of people, once people hear that, regardless of if you believe it's true or not, and all the diverse different cultures in Africa, what we don't acknowledge in that, because so many of us have been taught to value monogamy as our value, if we're able to perform in this particular culture. And I think the most important thing is acknowledging, and that's what I was bringing up at the table when I was talking about monogamy not being the only way, that there's many different ways to think about relationships, child raising, the environment to build a community in. And I do believe that monogamy, I do think, whether I said it or not, I don't believe I said it, but I do believe monogamy is not our culture. I do believe that there are cultures in Africa that practice things that look like monogamy. I do think that there are cultures in Africa that practice many different types of relationships. And I do believe that we need to make sure that we open our minds up to that, and in all of the ways of living that we are not aware of, that we are different than this bullshit that we have experienced in America.
All right. So we're going to wrap this up here. I'm going to ask each of you gentlemen, you heard the questions. You may want to respond directly to that. Or I want you to just give your closing statement tonight of like, what do you want the people in this room to walk away with knowing about you, and why this type of work and these types of conversations are important. And I promise you I'm going to time you.
Okay.
I want each of you to have 15 seconds to give that piece, right? So you can answer that question, and or please give us your parting words for tonight, and then we're going to give these folks the next steps as to how we're going to keep these conversations going.
I want to go first real quick. I just want to say you to the back. And I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional.
It's all right, sweetheart.
A lot of people...
Take your time.
Take your time.
A lot of people try to say that the relationship with my father is the reason why I was triggered by that remark. It was not.
Yeah.
It was the women. You came up here and you had to say what you had to say. We got to get rid of the enabling behavior. Women like her live their whole lives waiting for people like you to get right. And that is why I'm upset. That is why I'm emotional. Now, look, I know that he was a couple generations from slavery, but when you're 30, no, look, it's the truth. You said it.
Sure.
You said it. I'm going to sit down.
I didn't say that. I said my dad was.
Okay, your father. A lot of people said, like, it is generational difference. And I understand that. And therapy is something that it was not normal. And I understand that. Even with me, I have my own beliefs with it. But when you're 20, 30, 40, if you haven't seen no motherfucking colored water fountain, and you know you're going down that track, you are the issue. You are the issue. She shouldn't have to be upset like that.
Yeah.
There's women still going through stuff like that.
Okay.
So that's it. I want to say that.
So let me say this.
That is why I am triggered.
Let me
it
say
don't
this.
got nothing to do with my dad. It's because the way my grandmothers was treated, my aunties was treated, my cousins were treated.
That's right.
So I do appreciate you for standing up. I really do.
Thank you, babe. All right, Clifton, I'm going to give you your 15 seconds now, and we have to close this out, good people. We have to close this out.
What I think is really amazing is how much people don't hear.
Including
What people don't hear.
Mm-hmm.
I think these are hard conversations.
They are hard conversations.
I don't think he was attacking me. I was attacking him. I think when I said I'm just learning how to love it, romantically love at 65, I've been very, very clear. This is the reason why we're doing this.
That's
Because
right.
these are hard conversations, and everybody has an opinion from where they're from. I'm not going to let anyone, and I'll say it again, misquote me.
Yeah, I hear that.
This is my brother. And we've apologized to each other, we've talked, but I was speaking on a woman who I met coming from a mother who committed suicide when I was 4, my father who was a alcoholic who beat me and beat my mom when I was a kid, coming from never seeing balanced love on any level.
That's very real. That's real.
On any level. On any level. And so at the end of the day, what I was speaking on, I get some historical references. I talked about how the majority of men and women who don't have fathers between 12 and 18 to 25 go down the rabbit hole, drugs, alcohol, promiscuity, everything. I worked in the juvenile detention centers. That I love my kids. I didn't say romantic love, but I'm just learning because I met someone, and like I started out saying, and I'll stop, that I thought I was a great guy until I met a woman who taught me what love was really all about, and I had to hold myself accountable.
That's her.
Deal with my own whatevers, being caught up in the entertainment business, and I think to a certain level, people have taken that out of perspective. So you can say what you want, but I think we all have valid points. I think I'm going to close by saying we need to do this somehow every month because
it's a lot to
it's
unpack.
a lot to, and I'll say this
It's a lot to
last
unpack.
thing, and I was saying to my brother, this is just me, don't get mad at me, but we need a clinician because these things are, we're talking about monogamy, but nobody's ever said anything about dopamine or oxytocin. Look it up. My nurses know what they are.
I mean, there's lots of things that we have to,
So
we're going to be able to break down.
but that's why I'm here, because it opens up so we can try to
We can
figure
do
out
that.
our way. That's it.
Awesome. All right. So I want the other gentlemen to give their parting words, but I want us to take a moment for just give me some silence for just a few seconds here, y'all. This is why we did this roundtable. What is real is that there are so many of us who are walking around who have been forced to walk around with traumas that have been unheard, with traumas that have been unhealed. There are folks who are walking around with so many different understandings of what history is and what it means to them. There are so many folks who are walking around trying to figure out how they are going to enter into this kind of conversation when, they never got it. There are folks who don't understand the work of queer and trans liberation, and that triggers them. There is so much that is so necessary for us as a people to start to understand about each other. And the only way that we get there is to put ourselves in these spaces where we can have these conversations authentically and real. It doesn't mean that we have to attack each other. It doesn't mean that we all have to agree. It doesn't mean that we have to even understand each other in that moment, but it does mean, am I willing to be in a process where I can actually get to a place of common ground with my people? Because what we are up against, good folks, what we are up against, it is banking on us not talking to each other. It is banking on us staying in silos. It is banking on us staying disconnected. It is banking on us not healing. It is banking on us being committed to continuing to uphold white supremacy. It is banking on us to continue to perpetuate these systems of oppression. It is our duty. It is our duty, Black people, to shift that culture. And it starts just like this. Do y'all feel me? So I am not mad about not one question. I'm not mad about one reaction. I'm not mad about any of that because we have to be willing to put ourselves in this in order to get to the other side together. All right? Kendrick, Evan, Euro, do you have any last words before we end tonight? Like a good sentence.
Okay, I know we gotta keep it brief. My parting words are gonna be to both men and women.
Yeah.
For men, being transparent, the pain that we cause women is almost like an onion. Women are so strong that it's layers and layers and layers. And the hurtful part about that is, as a man, even when you start to take accountability, once those layers have been built, it takes so long to the point where sometimes it's irreparable. And as a man, you continue to strive, but it's hard because it's kind of like she probably been strong. You don't know how many layers it's been.
That's real.
That's built up. But also to these women, to the women, excuse me, not these women, to our women, to the women, please understand the man you decide to deal with. If he doesn't come from generations of love where he's seen that and his parents seen it and he's seen, you got to understand it's going to come with some problem. And as a woman, I know you don't want to take on the bearings of teaching the man and this, that, and the third, but somebody's going to have to help our men because we ain't got it.
We got to help each other.
We got to help each other. So be patient. Listen. And if you see that he ain't trying to take accountability, you see the red flag. You smart enough. You have intuition, discernment. Get up out of there and get with somebody that's really trying to do the right thing because we can't make excuses if we're going to grow as a people.
That's real.
So men got to do their part and women got to do their part for us to have this natural chemistry.
100. Evan, what you got as your last parting words for us tonight?
Yeah, I just want to use my words for gratitude. So thank you so much, Sister Song. Thank you to the Black Men's Research Institute at Morehouse. Thank you to the Morehouse College Film Festival
Yes.
team. And most of all to my parents for raising me in love and showing me what that looks like. Decolonizing manhood and masculinity for me. And, just teaching me how I need to conduct myself in the world.
Absolutely. Thank you, Evan. We appreciate you. Any last sentence?
And what you said is the answer. Like we was talking about earlier, I was like, fuck these Republicans. And to be honest, because they're evil, to be real. And then on the other side, to be real, what you fuck the Democrats too. They not our party. And what you're talking about, what like literally what she just outlined and described is how we build true power. When we have these conversations, we understand that it's not just political talking points and we don't hear the right talking points or the things that we agree with. We shout out and be like, fuck you, man, you ain't saying blah, 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 blah. I'm over here watching my elder and my homeboy reconcile in real time on stage. That he came back after this. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
And whether I agree with them or not, sometimes both of them, I'll be like, Joseph, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Clifton, what the hell you doing? But we need those. We need that. And that is, we think politics is Democrats and Republicans. Politics is this.
It's the people.
Sorting through this shit. So that, more than anything, us building that people's party, and that
People
people power is the way to make sure that we are powerful and free and that we defeat this enemy.
Absolutely. Good people, you all stepped into something so real tonight. We are so grateful for your participation. We are so grateful for everything that you brought tonight and for you being here. Again, thank you to Morehouse. Thank you so, so much for partnering with us on this and making this possible. Thank you again to the Sister Song team, the Build Power team. It takes a village, good people, to make this work. So what's next? Right now, you see on your screen, there is a QR code because we do have a toolkit that folks can start to use now to start to have these conversations on your own, in your own communities with your own people. And we want to be able to hear about those conversations and continue to build on them. The goal is to continue to build these conversations out, to have them with more Black men, to think about certain parts of Black male culture that we want to dig deeper in. And ultimately, it is about putting Black men and Black women together. But we do have to make sure we create those containers and spaces for us individually equally, right? To be able to build trust, for us to be able to work through the issues just like we've seen in this experience, because Black women got to do the same, right? In so many ways. But that's the work that Sister Song is committed to. Because we know that, again, in order for Sister Song's mission of achieving reproductive justice in this country, which means that, again, we have the human right to make our own decisions about our bodies and our families and our futures, it has to start with this, right? And we have to be willing to stay in this for the long haul and understand that this journey to liberation is not a short journey, good people. And it is going to go up, down, round, and back again. And we got to be willing to stay on that road. So are y'all willing to stay on the road with us? That's what we're talking about, good folks. So please make sure you download that QR code. Please make sure you stay tapped into Sister Song and Build Power. Please make sure you continue to support these men. Continue to amplify this roundtable, because the more that you amplify it, the more that we are able to get the resources that we need to continue to build on this work. And we have so much more coming down the pipe at Sister Song. We're on our way to our Road to Essence and our Essence activations at the Essence Festival of Culture. We also have our national Let's Talk About Sex conference. It is the largest reproductive justice conference in the country. And please believe me when I say this conference is not just for activists, good people. It is for the community. And this year, we're broadening it even wider, right? To ensure that people see how all the intersections of our work come together and how we need to build this people power in order to see the liberation that we all deserve in our lifetime. So stay connected. I am so grateful for these gentlemen, each one of you. I truly am. Joseph, Euro, Clifton, Evan, Kendrick, y'all are incredible. Y'all are incredible. I also want to lift up again the other gentlemen who weren't able to be with us tonight, Laith Ashley, that you all talked about. Again, we were very intentional about making sure that all forms of masculinity were represented here, and we are standing 10 toes down on that. And if you want to have more conversations about what queer and trans liberation really looks like, we got trainings on that, good people. All right, so we can get you trained up in that. Also, I want to thank, who else I didn't mention? Oh, Jay Alphonse, I want to name him as well, and Luke James. And Daniel Watt. So we're grateful for all of these gentlemen that were vulnerable enough to step into the pressure cooker of this first conversation to make this thing happen, and we're going to keep this work going. Y'all, please be safe tonight. Make sure you meet somebody that you don't know. Make sure you take at the front. And I'm going to end with a quote, because we are ending out Black History Month, and I want to end with a quote from Assata Shakur that says, "It is our duty to fight for our freedom." Y'all say that. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect each other. We must love and protect each other. We must love and protect each other, because we have nothing to lose but our chains. We love you, Black people. Thank you so much, and we can't wait till the next time. Peace, everybody.